Hey everybody, I'm Anna McEwen. And now for Bob Switzer with the Epic Narrative.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Epic Narrative, and we continue this amazing story. I know. I'm not the first to cover this. I know that. We've covered that before. But I still love it. So today we're in Ruth chapter 3. And we are obviously very much closing in on the end of this season. Season 5. Crazy but true. Season 6 is going to be a reboot of David. If you've already listened to season 1, I still think you're going to enjoy season 6, but we'll get into that another time. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I always look forward to this. I don't know. There's everything about this I look forward to, except for the computer stuff. I mean, I know my rhythm. I can do my recordings. I can send them off to Brian. But man, if there is a glitch, if anything goes a little haywire, I am at a complete standstill because I don't want to screw this up. All right, here we go. Verse 1. One day, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you where you will be well provided for." Now, Boaz, with whose women you have been working, is a relative of ours. Tonight, he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, get dressed in your best clothes, then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he's finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying, then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do. "I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. All right, let's break this down. So 3 months have gone by since the beginning of the barley harvest. And all of those things have been put into warehouses or storehouses, not warehouses, storehouses. And they're waiting for winnowing day. It's the same. And, they moved from barley right over to the wheat and then the wheat harvest. And they stored them all in barns and got it all ready, waiting for this day. So while these weeks are going by, Naomi, I think, starts to put together a plan of how to get out of the cave, how to move out of Section 8. And it's not like she showed up and this like wasn't ever part of her concept. When she moved back to Judah from Moab, she knew she had relatives. She knew that there would be somebody who she could probably reach out to and possibly get redemption of the land and inheritance that her husband had left behind. So this is not like out of the realm of possibility from the moment she started heading back home. What she didn't know was how Ruth was going to play into that, because Ruth obviously doesn't have an inheritance in the promised land, but Naomi does through Elimelech. And she, after losing her 2 sons, like there's all of these contingencies that are covered, and we covered them last season through all of the various laws, and again, contingencies of those laws and variables that were kind of written about and alluded to. So the principles are all there. Ruth knows she's going to be taken care of, or she should be. She just didn't know how. So she seized, I guess you could enunciate that 2 different ways. She seized the opportunity, and then she seized the opportunity. You like that, Bob? I knew you would. Now, winnowing is a place of celebration. It's hard work, but it's the result of the harvest. It's very similar to like sheep shearing time. All the farmers would empty out their warehouses, and they had a system. It wasn't like a free for all, but all of their servants would empty the warehouses. They go down to the winnowing floor. This was the perfect location where the breezes were basically channeled through the valley, and they use these screens, and they would shake the screens and throw the barley or the wheat into the air, and the wind would catch the shaft, the light little shell that covers the barley or the wheat kernel, and then the shaft would blow, and then the heavier stuff would land back in the screen. And they do that over and over and over again all day long. And they would literally just pile the kernels up into piles there on the dirt, which is another whole, right? They still do, I guess, in a lot of third world countries, but it kind of interesting to me. And the servants are there, the workers are there, the farmers are, the owners of the land are there, and it's a time of celebration. And every night there would be a feast, and it was usually thrown by the one whose harvest was being thrown up. Okay, stop. Well, that's true. Well, whoever's harvest was being winnowed, there's the word, not thrown up. You don't want to throw up your harvest. That's terrible. Whoever harvest was being winnowed usually provided the meal that night or those nights, because oftentimes it would take more than one day to get all of your harvest in and taken care of. So all of this is going on, and they're excited, and everybody's happy. And all the farmers, like I said, the landowners were there. So everybody knew, even if you weren't watching your harvest, you would show up at night for the meal, because everybody loved to celebrate a good harvest time. You'd go home at night full and happy, and you would tell everybody in your household the next morning, hey, we have got such a good harvest. Like, our village is going to be, our city, our tribe is going to be so well cared for. We've got plenty for the winter. We've got plenty for selling. We're going to go to the market. We're going to make money. We're going to get more seed. Like, everything just depended on the harvest. And it's an amazing thing. So there's a lot of excitement and a lot of happiness going on. Now, usually the farmers didn't have to, the owners should say, didn't have to go home, but often they did, unless it was their stuff that was being winnowed. And then the owner would stay and at some level offer a level of security. You didn't want to leave your harvest just laying there in piles on the valley floor until all of it was done, and you piled it all up and put it into containers and bags, etc., and brought it back to your storehouses. So all of this is going on. That's what she says when she says, with a threshing floor, winnowing barley and on the threshing floor. So he is a relative of ours. Boaz is a relative. She implies in here that she says, now Boaz, with whose women you have worked. The idea is there is more than just you've been hanging out with the other widows and poor people. You've worked with the women who support and serve Boaz, and they like you. They're impressed by you. They have embraced you as basically one of their own, like you, Ruth, are somebody that they consider to be family, which is a big deal because she's not. She's a Moabite. And Moabites had various reputations all throughout time, depending on where you're from, but considering them family was not something Jewish people did on the regular. It was not even, some were quite hostile to the idea of a Moabite. So the fact that Naomi's throwing this out, she's throwing it out as evidence that there's great favor, not just from Boaz, but from all those that are around Boaz. Now, she knows that Boaz is going to be out in the open. Tonight, he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. He's going to be out in the open. He's going to be happy. He's going to be full. And we need to prepare. We need to prepare. So I just want to make sure I don't get ahead. So in verse 3, she's like, wash, put on perfume, get dressed in your best clothes, then go down to the threshing floor. So in other words, you're not going to try and find food today. You're not going to go into the fields and still glean what was left behind, because all of that is done. Now, granted, a lot of poor people would, and they would walk those fields until literally every kernel had been picked up. But she's saying, that's not your job right now. I have a plan. We're going to execute this plan. think it's going to work. I think the favor of God's on it. I think it's quite clear what we have, our path to getting out of the, Section 8 housing. So she's going to get dressed up. She's going to get washed up. She's going to get dressed up. She's going to smell good. And I'm guessing she, maybe she, saved a few things from her Moabite days. I totally get that. Now I like shoes. I don't know why. Just always have. I just have. If you're out there listening and you're like, I just really really want to bless Bob. Now you can always give to the podcast. That'd be great. But if you just want to bless Bob, find a way to get me a pair of shoes. It's I don't know. It's just my thing. So, we left on what we thought would be a 1-year trip. We spent 3+ years in an RV. I have in storage a couple boxes of shoes that I just couldn't part with. And I got rid of tons of shoes before we left. So I totally understand that Ruth had a couple really nice robes. Tunics. Thank you. Bob's like, what are you trying to say? Tulip? No. Anyway, she had some nice clothes. At least one, maybe two, were her favorite. Just fit her really, really nicely. Accentuated all the stuff that she wanted accentuated. I don't know what that was. But she knew she felt good in it. And I get that because, occasionally I get the chance to go on stage and preach or to tell stories and you want to feel good. You want to feel well put together. I don't know. I was going to say handsome. I don't know about that, but I mean, that's an opinion thing, very subjective, but you want to feel it. So that's what I think. She saved something that she was like, every time I wear this, I know I look good. So, well, I spent a long time on that for no particular reason. Anyway, so she washes up, she gets dressed up, she puts on perfume, she heads down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking, which means it's going to be dark by the time you let him know you're there. When he lies down, note the place he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do. I will do whatever you say. She agrees to the plan. So she goes down. She stays hidden. I don't know how you do that. Good-looking girl in a brand new dress, not brand new, in a nice dress, smelling amazing. I have a feeling she probably stayed on the upper end of the valley or of the hill overlooking the valley where where the winnowing was occurring. Lots of people watched the harvest, some of whom used to be landowners, some of whom are merchants, keeping an eye on things. There were guys who invested in farms. There's all kinds of activity around the winnowing floor, the threshing floor. So she probably stayed in the crowd, but she found Boaz, whatever hat he was, they don't wear hats. Anyways, whatever donkey he was riding, whatever robe he was wearing, she was familiar enough with him, and she found him, and she just kind of kept an eye on him for the rest of the day after she had washed and got dressed and put on perfume. And then she went down there. I'm guessing it was probably late afternoon. She wouldn't have gone down in the heat of the day because then it would ruin her dress. So she went down when she could, and she found him, and she kept an eye on him. And she tracks Boaz, and she keeps track of where he's going because she's doing everything she said. She went down to verse 6, did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking, verse 7, and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down on the far end of a grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, lay down. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet. Well, he takes a nice spot on a pile of grain, which basically was like sleeping on a mattress, I imagine, kind of like a memory foam or whatever. It just kind of formed to who you were. And he lays there, and he's, like I said, it's kind of a rite of passage at the end of every harvest Like I said, the owner would spend a night on the winnowing floor. So he probably drank a little bit more than usual because he didn't have to ride home. He ate a lot, and you just kind of pass out. He wasn't a rabble route. It wasn't a rowdy night. He didn't get crazy. He got super comfortable. She tracks him to where he is. He lays down. He's out cold for probably hours. Now, I don't know when she crawled in, but I'm guessing she laid there wondering what would happen. It says basically the phrasing is he snapped awake. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, there was a woman laying at his feet. It was just, I'm sure he was disoriented and he was curious. A woman lying at his feet. Ruth had been waiting in total darkness. I don't know if you've ever been in total darkness. I mean, the night sky lights up and it's beautiful. And there might have been a torch or two flickering. It's nowhere near the Hollywood movies. It's dark. It's dark. And I always chuckle at how much, somebody lights one torch and you can see, 60 people all around the camp. No, it is dark. She's lying there waiting to find out what's going to happen. She crawls in, so to speak, at his feet. Now, this is something that prostitutes also did. They would crawl in, into bed, onto the foot of the bed with wherever somebody was there, and when they woke up, they'd find out whether or not they had a job to do. So I imagine she's lying there. She's under cover. He's sound asleep, probably snoring. She's thinking, what am I doing? Why am I here? What's going to happen? He's a good man. I don't think he's going to, mistreat me in any way, but this is kind of bold. I know he likes me. I know I like him. I know his people like me. I know his supervisors like me. I know his workers like me. Everything should be fine. My mother-in-law thinks everything's going to be good. He could redeem us. We could be living in a house, next week. We could have our inheritance restored to the family line. This is amazing. And she's thanking God. She's talking with God. She's having a great night, but then she's also partly nervous because something could go wrong. Somebody could see her. Somebody could consider her a prostitute. Somebody could say she, tricked him. Somebody could say she beguiled him with the ways of a woman. There's all kinds of ways that this could go sideways, but it's probably not going to go sideways. And she's got all of this going on in her mind. And then she gets kicked. He was having a dream, maybe, and he snapped, and then he sat up. Who's there? Who's that? What are you doing here? And she replies, I am your servant, Ruth. Now, the word servant means maidservant or concubine. At some level, she was making an offer. She was proposing to him. He says, she says to him, spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer for our family. So she proposes this. She's like, hey, I'm here. I'm available. And the word, I think combined into the word concubine, right, is the idea that even if we don't necessarily make covenant together, I'm willing to do the wifely duties because of who you are. You are a kinsman redeemer. You are a guardian of our inheritance. Redeem my in-laws' lands. Be our hero. And he answers. He puts his cloak over her. And he is, quite frankly, overwhelmed to be chosen by this young, beautiful woman. And men tend to get all giddy around that kind of stuff. I still do. My wife is young and beautiful. And I still get giddy when she gets around, especially if she compliments me. It just, I just, whatever. I just, whatever you want, honey, whatever you want. So he replies, verse 10, the Lord bless you, my daughter. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier, which would be to Naomi. You have not run after younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all that you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. And although it's true, I am a guardian redeemer of your family, there is another who is more closely related to you than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good, let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Now lie here until morning. So she laid at his feet until morning, but got up before anyone could recognize her. And he said, no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. He also said, bring me the shawl you are wearing and hold it out. And when she did so, he poured in 6 measures of barley and placed the bundle on her, and then he went back to town. All right. So this whole night, nobody slept the rest of the night, basically. He's overwhelmed, right? She has blessed him beyond his comprehension. He commits to her proposal. He's like, I will do everything you ask, but I'm going to do it right because he's a man of honor, right? It speaks to his character. He commits to honoring her reputation. He's like, let me cover you, but we're going to go about this properly. And like he it seems as though he honestly never thought that she would ever want him to be her redeemer. But he treated her as though, as best he could from the distance that he had. And maybe in his own way, he was, hoping, praying, whatever. But he says, like, spend the night. Now, I don't know what that means. There are some who think it means they had all kinds of fun. I don't know. I think that they were talking. I think that they were hoping. I think that they were maybe spooning. I don't know. They were trying to be quiet. They were probably giggling. There was probably a lot of little things like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Am I crazy? I think they had a great evening together. And then before sunrise, too dark to recognize her. And I've been up early in the morning. I'm an early riser. And there is this time where the sky is not dark, but you still, to make out details is very difficult. As a matter of fact, there's a time as the sun is rising where you almost lose the dimension part of it. Like everything looks almost flat. The shadows aren't there, but there's enough light to see things, but you don't know what you're seeing. And honestly, I am not a big fan of dark, mostly because my imagination is too big. I probably have told you guys this before, but I just freak out. I freak myself out, and I freak myself out knowing I'm freaking myself out, prepared for the fact that I shouldn't be thinking these thoughts because I'll freak myself out, and yet I freak myself out anyways. I see things, I hear things, I get very nervous. I have to stay super focused. If you want me to walk in the dark, I have to stay super focused on just getting to where it is I'm going. And when I get there, there is a internal collapse of relief that I made it without being eaten by something or chased or shot or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just bizarre. There was one time I was going down to get something early in the morning. We were somewhere, and there was a red light on like a electrical panel of a telephone pole. I'm sure it was some sort of indicator light. And I'm sure it was on all day and all night, but for whatever reason, like I'm in this morning dusky thing. I see a red light. I immediately think it's an eyeball. There's something out there watching me. I don't know, and I'm completely frozen. I froze there. I froze. I didn't want to move because whatever was staring at me was going to come get me. It took me, I don't know, it probably took me 3 minutes before I realized I don't think it's an eyeball. I think it's something else. And I continued on my way. It's just the way it happened. Just the way it happened. So she gets up in the morning and she's like, if that's me, I'm like, oh, like I'm sneaking out, but I'm moving, man. I want to get out. I want to keep moving. I want to get back home where I can be safe. And he's like, no. Come here. I want to give you something. Give me your shawl. She's probably thinking, what? No. Just give me the shawl. Give me the shawl. And he's remember, he's laying on a big pile of winnowed seeds. So he puts in basically 6 liters. I don't know. What did I write down? I know I wrote it. 6 liters is 10 liters is 30 pounds. So she probably got about a 20-pound bag of seeds over her shoulder, which is no fun to run with, by the way. She's trying to make it through the city streets, she wouldn't have to go through the city streets. She lived out in the outskirts on the cave. So she's running through the wilderness on the pathways and roadways, trying to get to the cave where Naomi's waiting for her. And she's got, a 20-pound bag of seeds with her. It's crazy. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, how did it go? How did it go? She didn't sleep all night either. I mean, the longer the night went and Ruth wasn't home, the better she knew it was going. She thought, oh, this is good. This is good. I mean, unless he hasn't woke up yet. Of course, if he hasn't woke up yet, then I don't know if it's good, but it could be good. If he woke up halfway through the night, then that means that she's spending the night. Oh, she's spending the night. Oh, I wonder what they did. Did he say yes? He must have said yes, or he would have sent her home. He would have said, no, I can't do that. She would have been upset and come home, but she didn't come home, so she must be excited. She's up all night waiting for this. And finally, in the early morning dusk, I think Naomi kind of sees a shadow coming up the road. She's like, oh, I bet you that's her. But it looks a little different. Because on the back of this person, it looks like she's a humpback. Because, of course, she's carrying 20 pounds of barley with her shawl. But eventually she gets close enough. She realizes that it's Ruth. She's like, huh, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Tell me everything. And then she told her everything. Boaz has done for her. And she added, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. And Naomi said, wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today. When you see the words, she told her everything, it took a while. I feel the same way when on the phrase where it says the women with the issue of blood and Jesus stopped in the New Testament, and it says, and she told him her whole story. Like for me, that has to be at least 30 minutes. It probably was an hour. And meanwhile, the religious leader's daughter died, right? Jairus' daughter died. So she comes in and she tells the whole story. This is all the details. This is all the excitement. This is all how she, lost track of him here and there. And then the sun was going down and then the meal happened and he was in the tent. She couldn't quite figure out where he was, but she knew he was in there. And then a lot of the crowd was leaving the area, and so she was getting more and more noticeable. So she had to hide a little bit, behind carts or alongside piles of wheat and barley, and then there were servants to avoid, and there were other men to avoid, and she stood out more and more, having been well dressed and well perfumed. And boy, she proposed. Did she get a couple propositions while she was hanging out? She tells her all those details. And then finally she saw him leave the meal tent and he looked full and he looked happy. And and he walked all the way to the outskirts. Like he didn't take anything on the inside. So he's, it's going to make it easier for her to sneak in because she doesn't have to go through the entire, or be in the middle of everything. And he goes to the outskirts and he props himself up in basically an easy chair position on a pile of barley. And she's excited. She knows right where he is, and the sun goes down and now it's dark, and she has to just keep an eye on some vague mound of darkness that's a little darker than other things that have some light to them because of the starry skies. And so she's pretty sure she knows what pile of barley he's on. But, anybody's got to make that choice. You got to say, all right, it's what time is it? Is it 9 o'clock? Is he sleeping? I got to make so she works her way down there. I would imagine when she got to that pile of barley, she got up to his, she heard the breathing, she heard the snoring. She gets right up to his face. She tries to look really close. She's like, and I could tell it was him. I just knew it. And then maybe she felt the cloth of his cloak, and she, held it really close to her face. And she's like, yeah, this is the pattern. Like, this is him. Okay, I got to make a commitment here. I've got to lay down at his feet and wait. I mean, honestly, this story had to go on for a while. And when she was all done telling her the whole story, then she said, and I was leaving. He's going to go, he's going to go to the town. He's going to talk to the other guy. He's going to make his proposal. But as I was leaving, he wanted to make sure that I took care of you. Which for Naomi had to be a big comfort because, again, she could have been left behind. He could have said, I will take you, but I'm not taking on your mother-in-law because I have enough people to take care of. No, he made sure that Naomi knew that she was part of his plan of redemption. And Naomi says, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't change. Don't go looking for food. We got plenty. Stay right here because today, one way or the other, this is going to be settled. One Redeemer or another is going to come through for us. Of course, Ruth is hoping it's Boaz. Naomi is hoping it's Boaz. Boaz is hoping it's Boaz. Everyone in town knows that Bo likes Ruth and Ruth likes Bo. But somebody else has to have a say in how this plays out. And I'm guessing even that guy knows that Boaz really likes Ruth. And I'm guessing that guy also knows that there's somebody here that he could redeem. And that conversation is what we're going to get into next week on the Epic Narrative.
Don't go anywhere. We've got Bob Thoughts.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out this season with the Epic Narrative. And if you did it every week, like I don't know how many of you do that. I know we have a lot of listeners that listen to multiples at a time, but I don't know actually how many of you listen on a weekly. Like Monday it comes out and you start listening, and by the next Monday you're ready to start the next one. But regardless of how you listen to the Epic Narrative, I am super encouraged and grateful for you. And we want to keep going. We got the next season locked and loaded. Got a little bit of a break here, as usual, between the two seasons, between this season and the next season. But yeah, we got it. We got the next season ready to go. We're going back to 1 Samuel, although we are not doing just the life of David like we did before. So it's completely different. It's not completely different. I mean, it's the same stories, but it hits very differently. So I think you'll enjoy it, even if you enjoyed season 1. I think you're going to enjoy season 6 as well. I actually like it a little better. season one to me sounds, I hear it in my voice. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had a lot of fun doing it, but season 6, I'm a little more seasoned, and I like the way it comes out. So, yeah, if you can help us keep it going financially, that would be awesome. I do appreciate those who have given this past year. That was great, and we will use what you've given to pay for the software and the apps and all that sort of thing that needs to take place in order for the Epic Narrative to go forward. But we would love to do more advertising. We did 0 last year because the money just wasn't there. The year before, we had some extra. It was awesome. This year, it just didn't come in. So that's okay. I love you guys. We're gonna try and keep talking and keep it going. But if you could help us out, that would be fabulous. Just reach out to me, thebobswitzer.com. I can tell you how. But it's pretty simple. It's my Apple Pay, it's Zelle or PayPal, and those things are what. Man, it's such a blessing. I can't tell you what a blessing it is to see something come in and just be like, wow, somebody out there wants us to keep going. So I really, really appreciate it. Long term, I think we're going to do a retreat. Now, I'll have more on that at the beginning of next season, but we located a spot here in Amarillo that, oh my gosh, it would just be perfect for a retreat. It's small, but I don't know how many of you would be willing to come. So that part's good. The view is breathtaking. And it also just has a lot of great features. Anyways, I think we're going to do a retreat. We'll call it the Epic Retreat. But more on that hopefully in the future. And again, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you next season on the Epic Narrative.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe to this podcast on any platform you use. You can also reach out to Bob for questions or booking at thebobswitzer.com or email him at thebobswitzer@gmail.com. See you next week, guys.